Does it feel like your rough cut takes you forever? Like you're just spending ages with that blade tool? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you some tips that I use to speed up my editing workflow. We're going to look at 3 different things. First is keyboard shortcuts. Second is macros, where you can combine keyboard shortcuts, even if your editor doesn't have a built-in command for the thing you want to do. And third is automating the whole process. Let's get into it. One of the things that slows down your process a ton is having to move your hands back and forth between the keyboard and the mouse, or the keyboard and the trackpad, or having to get both hands on the keyboard for like some big keyboard shortcut that stretches the whole thing. Or hey, maybe you're not even using keyboard shortcuts yet. Maybe you just use the mouse, and that's fine. It gets the job done, but it's real slow. And you can get a lot faster if you learn just a couple keyboard shortcuts. Think about the actions you do most often and learn those shortcuts first. So for rough cutting, that's probably cutting the clips and ripple deleting them. So we'll start with learning those. I'm going to show you how to do these in ScreenFlow because it's the app that I've got the most time with, but these concepts exist in every editor, so you can definitely map them to yours. So here I am in ScreenFlow. This is version 9. I've got a screencast that I'm working on here. It's about 7 minutes long and I haven't edited anything yet. You can see in the waveform though that I've left a lot of pauses between the audio. And this is something I like to do when I'm recording to try to make the editing easier. So I just let the recording run, and whenever I'm thinking or between takes, I will just kind of stay silent, and then it's easy to come through and just chop out the pauses and chop out the bad parts. And I'm just going to keep it focused on the actions that I perform, not so much the audio itself, because that's kind of not the point of this video. We're just looking for shortcuts. So I would say, let's pretend this first part is bad. I can hold Shift and select this whole area, and then hit X to ripple delete. Now X is not the default keyboard shortcut for this. In ScreenFlow, the default is Command Backspace or Command Delete. But I like to rebind that to X because otherwise I need 2 hands and I have to take my right hand off the mouse and hit the keys. So I've rebound ripple delete to X. I've also got some other keyboard shortcuts rebound. So instead of having to reach for the T key, I've got split clip as B, deselect all as Z. So really going through and trying to find the actions that I'm doing all the time and keeping them clustered under my left hand so that my right hand can stay on the mouse and my left hand can kind of not move a whole lot, and avoid having to use modifier keys. So, avoiding like Shift X or Command whatever. So what I'll do from here is move left to right and cutting out the bad parts basically. So I'll slide along to here and hit B to make a cut there. And then I'll slide along to here and hit B to make a cut there. And then I could select this and hit backspace and drag this all over. And that is super slow. So definitely don't want to do that. It works, but it'll take forever. So what I like to do instead is, one thing you could do is select it all by holding Shift and then hit ripple delete. But what I really want to do is actually just delete from wherever my playhead is back to the last cut. And ScreenFlow doesn't have a single command for this, but it does have a few commands we can chain together. So we can hit O to set an out point, and then use semicolon to move the playhead backwards to the previous cut, and then hit I to set the in point. So now we've got our selection, and we can hit X without ever having to drag anything or hold Shift or whatever. And once you get that motion down, you can go pretty fast. So we can hit B here, jump over to here, O, semi, I, X, B, O, semicolon, I, X. And once you get that down, you can go pretty fast. But we can simplify it even more by binding all of that to a single key using a keyboard macro app called Keysmith. So this is a free app you can download. I've linked it in the description. And there's also a paid version, but the free one lets you use 5 macros, and that's really enough for what we want to do here. So what we can do is hit record, and then it pops up this little recording window here. And I can come into ScreenFlow, and let's say I'm here, and I want to delete backwards from here. So I'm going to set O, semicolon, I, X, and that wipes it out. So you can see it recorded all of our actions, including some stuff we don't really want. But I'll hit stop recording, and then we can go and clean this up. So I'll delete this one, just kind of delete everything except the typing. And we can set a hotkey for this. So I'm going to set it to the backtick key, which is the one next to 1. We'll confirm. We can say this is in ScreenFlow, and we'll call this ripple delete backward. And I've got a keyboard where the backtick key is actually near my left hand, but on a regular laptop keyboard, maybe you want to bind this to Z or something else. Now that we have this shortcut, we can go try it out in ScreenFlow. Let's go over here, and I'll move to like this spot. We should delete this whole area here when I hit the backtick key. But you can see instead, it's actually typed into the search box. So whatever we recorded isn't quite right. And so I found that the type command is actually not what we want here. We want to use press key instead. So we're going to add action below, hit press key and do O, and then just kind of run through semicolon I, press key X. And now I can get rid of this type action. And let's try this out instead. So with the timeline selected, we'll hit our backtick key, and there we go. So now we can go along and hit B, jump over here, hit the backtick, jump over to here, B, next area, backtick, B, backtick. And you can see how we can get through this pretty fast, deleting all the silences or all the bad takes, just every now and then hitting space to kind of play through some audio to make sure you're in the right place. The last thing I want to show you is how to automate some of your editing process. And this is using an app I created called Recut. So Recut finds all the gaps, all the silent parts between your audio, and then you can play it back, skipping over those gaps in the component. Just to see that this is working, let's change this to some other number, and we'll see the app refreshes with a... So you can see it skipping over the silent parts there. And then if you've got bad parts that you wanted to delete, maybe these were bad takes over here, you can select them and just hit backspace. You can also keep silent parts. So maybe if there was some important action going on here, you can kind of delete these parts here, and then these will get kept in the final export. It won't skip over them. So you can see with pretty much no work at all, we've gone from a 7-minute file down to 329 with 68 cuts we didn't have to make by hand. So from here, you can tweak some silence parameters if you need to. And then once you have it sounding good, go over to export. And you can either export a video, or you can export the cut list to a range of editors from ScreenFlow to Final Cut to Premiere to Resolve. So we'll take this out to ScreenFlow and save this file off and open it up in ScreenFlow. This is actually the video I'm editing right here, but this is the video we just edited in Recut. And you can see there's that big part we wanted to keep and a bunch of cuts we didn't have to make by hand. So if you want to check this out, you can go to getrecut.com to download a free trial, and the link is in the description. So that's it. I hope this was helpful. I hope this gave you some ideas for how to speed up your editing. You can find links for everything in the description, and thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. See you in the next one.